Hi, welcome back. It's Wake Up Nigeria. And then, of course, it's the weekend and you definitely have some plans to hang out. And if you intend to go to the cinemas, today we have some wonderful movies you could check out, like 3 Nollywood movies and then there's a Hollywood movie. So let's get straight to it. Our first movie we're looking at today is What Lies Within. It's a drama thriller set in Lagos, Nigeria. And now it chronicles 24 hours in the life of 2 women, Fiona and Ireti, as they, they are drowned in the middle of a situation that adversely affects their loved ones, friends, and family members. Of course, let's take a look at the cast. We have Michelle Dede in this one. Kiki Mile is also in this one. Ebele Okaro Denike, Vanessa Nzediegu, Oke Uzueshi, Tokpe Tedela, Paul Utomi, and a host of other actors. And then there's also a cameo appearance from popular comedian OAP Yo.
Don't forget, we have everyone coming over this evening. Come back home early.
How did you ever get over this?
I didn't.
All right, we waited for this movie for quite a long while, and it's now in the cinemas. Tribunal. It tells the story of Jimmy Disu. That's quite, that name rings a bell. A washed-up lawyer now in his 50s who helped co-establish a leading law firm in Lagos many years ago. Now he is approached by a young, enthusiastic law school graduate to help defend her friend who has been unfairly fired because he's a person with albinism. Now this gives Jimmy a chance to battle his old law firm. The movie stars Bimbo Manuel, Norbert Young, and of course, the sassy and sexy Omotola Jalade Ikende.
I have a client. Well, a friend, actually, that requires your services.
Ifeanyi was fired because he's an albino.
Ifeanyi?
How many of these other 5 members of staff that were relieved of their positions were albinos?
Okay, now this one has to be my movie of the week. Tattoo, T-A-T-U, not Tattoo, T-A-T-U. It's a contemporary take on a classic African epic adventure story. Now it is a fast-paced action drama centered around the conflict arising from a mother's quest to have a child and all the complications that follows, okay? Now, some of the incredible cast in this movie, we have Gabriel Afolayan, we have Segun Arize, of course, we have Rahama Sadao, Toyin Abraham, and of course, Honorable Desmond Elliott.
My daughter cannot die for the sins of others.
All right, great one, wonderful epic movie. And then on to the next one. Now this is quite a big one because it has one of my favorite actors, Gerard Butler. You know, it's Family Man. And as the boss of a Chicago-based headhunter firm who works at the BlackRock recruiting agency, arranging jobs for engineers, prepares to retire, Jensen vies to achieve his long-time goal of taking over the company, going head-to-head with his ambitious rival, Leon Vogel. Now, however, Dane's 10-year-old son, Ryan, is suddenly diagnosed with cancer, and his professional priorities at work and personal priorities at home begin to clash with one another. The movie was directed by Mark Williams, stars Alison Bry, William Dafoe, and of course, my main man, Gerard Butler.
Ryan, what's the deal with his gut, son? You got some exercise, buddy. What's going on?
Just worried about Ryan. I made an appointment for him to see the doctor.
My dad's coming. I asked him if we could go somewhere.
You closing the deal without me?
He's the only one that makes me feel safe.
You don't want the job, that it? Everything I need, I already have.
Never fade away.
All right, that's it for movies showing in the cinema this weekend. You can have a peek. 3 Nollywood movies, 1 Hollywood movie, whichever one rocks your boat, just go watch it. And then coming up next, we have Aramide, the lady with the golden voice. She is in the building, and of course, Yomi and Titi will be talking to her after this.
All right. Thanks so much, Mike. So are you going to see any movies this weekend?
You know, Yomi, you've been promising to take me, Mike to the movies.
What I promised you was to give you a 1 terabyte hard drive.
Seriously?
To do what you want with.
No, we are going
That's
to
what
see,
I promised.
Okay, so I really want to see The Tribunal. It seems like it's going to be a really powerful one.
It does.
And anything with Gerard Butler in it. Ladies, don't you agree? All right, it's still Wake Up Nigeria. And in the studio with us, we have the amazing Aramide.
Yes. The one and only.
Singer, songwriter, who describes her genre of music as Afro Soul. We met her as a contestant on Star Quest in 2006. Her band came out during that particular competition.
Of course, they were third runner-up, and then later she signed on to Baseline Music in 2014 after her exit from Tribe Records. I used to be in Tribe Records way back.
Yeah, a long time ago.
A long time. And then her song Iwanika earned her an award for Best Vocal Performance at the 2015 Headies. So it's been 2 years, but and she's still doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming early.
Yes.
I know how it is.
What? How was your journey here this morning? How was it?
It was far. I had to wake up really early because I was like, I have to be here on time because of TT.
Oh, that's the sweetest thing.
It has nothing to do with him. I know. It's fine. Aramide.
Yeah.
So tell us, music now has 2006. How many years is that? My
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
See, I did it for math. So 11 years in this industry. What are the major lessons you've actually learned?
Patience.
Okay.
I've learned how to be very, very patient, and I've learned how to pray really hard because sometimes you're so talented and it takes a while. It takes time for people to get familiar with you, and that could be as a result of different factors. It could be money, it could be the fact that maybe it's not your time, or just different things, or maybe you're not writing the right songs for that time. You know,
Okay, so I'm thinking you're with Baseline now.
Yes.
Not a lot of people knew about Baseline before people like you actually signed on to them.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about the fact that it was a big move, moving from
Tribe
one very
Records.
known label to one that wasn't at that time as well known.
Thing was, Tribe Records was like my first major label, record label, so to say, because LD was the first person to actually even believe in me in the industry. You know, so he gave me that huge platform, and then my contract was over, and then I was independent for a while, and it was rough.
I can imagine. That rough was like a very calm way to say.
It was rough.
Okay.
And then, of course, I had to find other ways of putting out my music, and I knew that it had a lot to do with, financing and all that. So I had to, make that move to move to Baseline. Baseline is a new record label. They signed on myself, Skills, and Zion. So it's a label that tries to encourage as many new talents as possible. So it was an opportunity for me to get my get on that platform.
So talking about putting out your music and actually going out to record and produce, how easy or difficult is it to, because your brand of music, you call it Afro Soul. I know it's evolved over the years, but how hard or easy is it to get people who can actually develop the kind of content that you want in terms of instrumentals and just production and putting the stuff out there? Because I know that it can be really tough to get someone who's a perfect guitarist for the thing that you want to do.
I think most of the time people that I work with are mostly cut from the same cloth. Like, they understand the music, they understand where I'm going to. Most times I already have everything played in my head. I'm just like, I think it should sound like this, I think it should sound like that. And I'm always on the lookout for people that want to sound different, people that are willing to learn, because I, as an artist, I don't feel like I know everything as well. I'm also willing to learn from other people, and those kind of people who are drawn to me and all that. So I think that's like the beginning of how I get to pick people that I want to work with.
No, but before, when you're thinking about your kind of music, and you're talking about Afro Soul, did people have to warm up to this type of music, especially when, you know, I mean, I know when you came out, it wasn't, people were wondering, okay, is she from Nigeria? Is she international? You know, so did people have to warm up to this kind of music? And are we in a time when this is the kind of music that, you know, more people, they'll have a broader audience for your music?
I think now we have a broader audience. Initially, it was very, very difficult. People actually had to warm up. We had to bring the lyrics down.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to say water it down. We had to bring it down to everyone's level. We had to make it as relatable as possible. You know, like all the grammar, we had to like find other ways of saying it, you know. So I think that all boils down to creativity as well, because sometimes you sit down and wonder, okay, why is this sound so acceptable? What is it that they are saying that is so relatable? Can I make my own sound as relatable as theirs, you know? And I think that's where me personally, I started to figure it out.
Yeah, and understand the industry, basically.
I'm thinking, you know, there's always that temptation to go mainstream. Have you ever been tempted to just go and do a gbedu? It must have been there.
Yeah, personally, I feel like I can do almost any kind of music. So sometimes I'm like, let me just do it for the fun of it, but not to really put it out. You know, I just want to do it because so that people will know that, oh, I can do almost anything. But again, I have been working on a particular style, a particular brand and all of that. So I don't want people to get, you know, confused by what I'm trying to do.
Speaking of confusion, I didn't know you were married though. You this woman.
Auntie Titi.
Why? You did not invite me for this wedding. What's going on?
Are you sure?
She has to treat it Auntie Titi.
You did
Are you sure I did not invite you?
You did not invite me.
Hey.
You went to go and marry. Hey. I was planning my younger brother for you. So no, but really. So how's married life going?
It's cool.
Yeah. You hear that answer? It's cool. Are you serious?
So what's your husband like? Is he supportive of your career?
Yeah, he's very supportive and he's cool.
This is a chance to get points with your husband. Like, tell the world how great he is. This is an opportunity.
He's great. He's supportive. He's amazing. He's everything.
Oh, it's everything.
I like, you know, some of your influences in music. You know, when you talk about Erykah Badu, Tracy Chapman, and the rest of them. When you think about them and you know how you grew up, maybe listening to all these kinds of people, do you model some of the things that you do after them? Or you try to, of course, I mean, you want to appeal to a Nigerian audience, obviously, but how do you get the kind of inspiration that you need for the next level? Say, for instance, okay, you want to put out a new album or whatever.
Okay, speaking of, let me start from the Erykah Badus and the I would say the first person I wanted to even ever sound like in my life was Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill.
Oh wow.
Because I digested their music so much, you know, and I wanted my career to be fashioned after theirs, you know. But in this present day, when you're putting out music, I know you actually have to move with time. You can put out the same sound. We have people that have been doing R&B from the 90s, and they're still doing R&B now, and they sound like now. They don't sound like the 90s. So you actually have to move with time. So that's what I work with in my mind all the time. So I'm very aware of the music around me. I'm very aware of my, you know, environment. And I think I'm inspired by everything, basically.
Everything.
Yes.
Every aspect. And you're going to be hearing a lot of that influence and, in fact, that amazing voice of hers. Hopefully, some guitar strings as well. She's going to be giving us
some vocal performances.
Yes, so
very nice.
We need to stay close for that one. We can't let you go without singing. How dare you think you will run away without singing?
You already owe her anyway for not inviting her for a
we
wedding.
have to go to a break now. I wish we could continue and just gist. But there is something right there, chicken roasted potato canopy, something
in the
happening
kitchen.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we're going to be finding out what that's all about in a bit.
Welcome back. Beyonce is still cooking up a storm as usual. So where are we, Beyonce, with our canopies?
You know,
okay, just before we go on, let's remind our audience what we're cooking.
We're making potatoes and roasted potatoes and plantains canopy. We're adding chicken to it, and we're topping it up with chicken.
Okay.
It's going to be in a cocktail sauce of mayo, ketchup, and vegetables of carrots and bell peppers and spring onions. and you put in a parsley for garnishing on it. Okay. So basically, our potatoes and plantains, they are roasting in the oven. Okay. Right now, we're about to cook the chicken. This is onions and garlic with olive oil in it, and we just we build up the aromatics until you can get that smell. We don't put the chicken in it yet. Okay. So right now, we're just tossing and moving around and making sure the smell comes out nice.
So what aroma exactly are you looking out for? The garlic aroma?
Just in a few minutes you get it. So while this is there, you could either season it here or here. Okay. Whichever way you want. Okay. You could just. This is adobo.
That's seasoning.
Yes, adobo seasoning.
Yeah. That's we're putting it into our chicken.
Yes, we're putting it into the chicken. Black pepper.
Okay.
Goes in here. And Italian seasoning, it goes into here, and a bit of salt, you know.
Okay.
Not too much, since you have adobo in it. Yeah. So we still come back to this place.
Okay.
We are sure this is, you know, the smell is, I don't know, it's starting to come out. The smell is starting to come out. I'm already smelling it. But it's a unique smell. You can't mistake it. It's basically, when I got into culinary school, the first thing I learned was using onions and garlic to my advantage, you know, because we hardly used seasoning cube. We did not use seasoning cube except we were doing African.
Yes.
So I learned building your flavor profile with herbs, fresh
ginger,
herbs.
Garlic.
Yes, garlic, rosemary, sage, coriander, parsley, whatever you need.
Okay.
So
for many of us who do not know, who cannot afford to buy coriander,
and that is this.
Sage,
you keep saying
parsley.
Afford. Do you know how much these things are? They are less than 300 naira.
Well, it's the accessibility, darling. It's the accessibility I'm
talking about. Like I said, if you have a phone, you would always access it.
Yeah, whatever.
So this is almost where we want it to be.
Okay.
I don't know if you can smell it, but I can. Yeah. Well, it's almost there.
So what's next?
We're just going to put this into this place.
So I'm curious, where does the carrots and the red bell peppers come in?
Okay, we are boiling the carrots a little, just to soften it, you know. We don't want it too crunchy. Oh, okay. Yes. But we're just going to boil it slightly.
Okay.
While the bell pepper is fresh, we're leaving it fresh. The spring onions is also going to be fresh. Yeah. So we're just going to mix. When the chicken is done, we're just going to fold it into this, the mayo, ketchup, and the carrots, the bell peppers, and this, and just top it up with the parsley, and we are good to go.
Okay. You know, this is just a continental bolly. Or would I?
It's actually bolly.
It's actually bolly. Yes.
This is bolly.
You're just giving it a canopy. Canopy.
No, see,
it's actually bolly and sauce.
See, the thing is, the new trend in cooking in Nigeria is actually African fusion. Most chefs now, they try to incorporate African ingredients to continental meals, and yes. So,
of course, that's why we have you, you know.
So basically, we're just going to cook this. I cut it really tiny because we don't want big chunks of chicken sitting on tiny potatoes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is why it's this small.
I mean, that's why they're called canopies, right?
Yes, canopies.
The idea is just to, you know, bites.
Yes, a bite, 2 bites, and it's done.
But that's not filling.
Well, canopy is not supposed to be filling.
Okay. It's just a snack.
Yes. Okay. It's a snack you could just make and, you know, just pack it in your child's lunchbox. And you're like, oh yeah, you know what?
Well, I don't know about that.
Yes, add juice to it, trust me. Just add a bit of juice. No, children really do not eat so
I
much,
agree with you. I agree with you.
And this is something you could make, okay, when you're having a gathering, a social gathering, you know, that is just by the side.
Like a side dish.
Yes, it's a side dish. It's not.
I'm going to try this, actually. I am going to try it.
You keep trying, but you don't show me pictures. I've never seen a picture of what you've tried before.
Yeah, that's because you don't follow me on social media. I try to update, you know, my culinary skills every now and then.
Have you tagged me before?
Well, okay, maybe I'll start to tag you.
Okay, this is where I try to show off. can you do this?
No, I can't.
Okay. So basically, what we've done so far is cook the chicken.
Okay.
Or saute the chicken in onions and garlic with olive oil, and basically
vegetable oil.
Yes, or vegetable oil.
Yes.
You do not necessarily need to use olive oil. You could use vegetable oil. But while we're cooking in culinary world, we like to use olive oil.
Yeah. So moving on to the carrots. Me also likes to show off.
So moving on to the carrots here. We have our water here.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're still going to chop our carrots even after boiling them.
Yes, yes, definitely.
But I like carrots. I like my carrots being crunchy. I like it to be crunchy, you know. And
yeah, that's why I said
I like that fresh taste.
We're not cooking it. We're not cooking it for so long. Just it's called blanching. You know, you just want to blanching.
Blanching.
Yes, just put it in and bring it out. You know, not so much. Just to cook it a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blanching.
Yes.
I've learned a new word today. Is that from Italy though?
It's a culinary term.
Okay.
So we're just blanching it and bringing it out. But you could leave it crunchy if you want it.
Okay.
Like I said, everything we make here, there are some things you might not be, you might want differently,
Okay.
you know. You probably might want your chicken spicy and you add pepper to it, you know. Maybe Scotch bonnet, habanero, or cayenne pepper or something, you know, to make it spicy.
Yeah, sometimes you should come down to our level. When you say habanero, cayenne pepper,
you can add atarodo to it.
Yeah, fantastic. Great.
You can add atarodo to it if you want. But basically, we're cooking the chicken, and once the chicken is ready, we just cut our vegetables and fold it into the ketchup and mayo sauce. And
okay, so let's get to it. Are we waiting for the water to boil up?
Yes, yes, we are waiting for the water to boil up.
Okay. So is our chicken ready?
No, not yet. You know when your chicken is ready, if you don't see it pink, you see some of these are still pink. You know, you see them. Yeah, they're still pink.
And we don't want to eat undone chicken.
Now, if you are not sure if you're properly seasoned your chicken, just pick a piece that you feel is done and taste it and know if you want to adjust the seasoning. Because I adjust my seasoning. I cook to adjust. I'm not this badass that I just look like, oh, okay, this is enough. No. They taught me how to cook on the go. Like, once you're cooking, you have to check it, taste it, to be sure it's good. If it's not good, bam, add more. If it's good. But I also learned early enough that you can add, but you can't remove. So the little you add, yes,
the
just
better.
Yes. So just add a little and check on the go until it's perfect.
Oh, great. What I do usually is when I don't, before I steam, I just put in my seasoning and leave for like a little while so that the seasoning gets into all of the.
Yeah, you could, you know, but we don't have the luxury of, you know,
whatever
marinating. It's called
marinade.
Yes, yeah. The marinade is what you've made to marinate it inside. Yeah. So we
but
don't.
But it doesn't make any difference though.
Well, it does, because at some point in time we probably might make barbecue chicken here. And you need a marinade. The marinade actually adds, if you leave it longer, it intensifies the flavor, like wonderful. Oh, and it even makes everything softer, you know, and you pick it up and you just turn it.
All right. So our chicken
is almost ready.
All right.
Yeah.
So for those joining us,
yes.
Beyonce, take us through the ingredients one more time.
Yes, we're making roasted plantain and potato canapé. Yes, with chicken toppings on it. So we're going to top it with chickens and vegetables on it.
Okay, so more or less it's like boli and chicken sauce. All right, we have a lot more coming up on Wake Up Nigeria after this break. Stay with us.
Well, it's your feel-good breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria.
On fashion today, convener of the Plus Size Fashion Week and creative director of JP Couture, Temi Aboderin Alao will be joining us right here in the studio talking about styling options for the plus-sized ladies.
And Princess the comedian will also be joining us for a chat and a few laughs.
Honestly, on other ways that children were kept busy this long holiday, a theatre summer school will be in a feature for you as well.
And yeah.
Mike and MM
they're joining
are
us
just
again.
chilling. They're just chilling,
relaxed,
looking so fly. And
well, that's what happens when you have roasted plantains and potato canopies.
Now, you know, when once things have moved into the oven, everywhere just begins to...
Something else happens in the second half. You know, we're talking about the movies, and I saw you guys are all about Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
What's your... I know you've seen some epic movies and all that. What's your favorite rally or war cry you've ever heard or listened to in a movie?
This is Sparta!
Really? You like that? Is there anyone that comes to mind now?
That's the one that's coming to mind.
That's what that comes to mind. There's a lot for me. There's that one. There's also the one in Troy. That was very nice. That was Brad Pitt. He goes, on that island lies immortality. Take it. It's yours. I love that one.
Oh, there's this one. There's this one. Are you entertained?
I love it. Okay. There's another one. Is there anyone else?
I think it's is there no one else?
Is that
no one else?
Some stuff like that.
But it's usually only like
guys,
male voices that.
Funny enough, Meryl Streep has had
maybe we could do that. We could do that, Titi.
What?
We could have our own epic, even though we are not actresses yet. We could have our own epic liners like, "This is Wake Up Nigeria."
Yeah, but you would have to kind of dress in a certain way, get all that really funky makeup on, and I don't know. But it'd be fun.
All right.
I think it's about time for us to take another news update. Blessing is on standby. Hello again. Let's check out stories making news at the top of the hour this time. Travelers on the Abuja-Lokoja road are now stranded as the road is heavily flooded, making it difficult for them to continue with their journeys. And this is after a heavy rainfall which lasted for about 3 hours in Lokoja early Thursday morning. The rain added to the water level of River Niger that runs parallel with the road, and the high tide spilled water over the banks, leading to an overflow. The flooded areas is the Natako Junction at Seriki Newman Village, just 1 kilometer from Lokoja. Meanwhile, the Federal Road Safety Corps has alerted motorists of a major flooding of the Lokoja-Abuja Expressway. And earlier, the National Emergency Management Agency said it received a distress call of imminent flood in 3 local governments in Kogi State. Residents of Sarkin Noma, Ganaja in Lokoja and Igala Mela area are under a NEMA advisory to immediately relocate to higher grounds for safety to avoid the danger of the imminent flooding. NEMA is strongly advising the communities living around the floodplains to leave. The agency is now setting up a response mechanism with the State Emergency Management Agency and other relevant stakeholders, and this is as a team from the agency is due to arrive the states for appropriate action to help the affected persons and communities. Well, the federal government's team, led by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, has promised to make efforts towards the payments of arrears owed health workers in the next 24 hours. And this is after an 8-hour meeting with the federal government and the National Association of Resident Doctors in Nigeria. Ngige assured that none of their members would be victimized. The conciliation meeting was, however, adjourned to reconvene on November the 2nd. Meanwhile, the resident doctors say they may call off their nationwide strike if they get evidence of payments. And the international human rights organization Lawyers Without Borders has taken the campaign against torture to the Kaduna states. The France-based institution says the United Nations Convention Against Torture must be effective here in Nigeria. It is now training security personnel and medical and judicial counterparts in the states to ensure compliance. Officials with the Kaduna State Judiciary say they are determined to comply and enforce it. The Chief of the Air Staff has called on officers and airmen of the service to double their efforts in the fight against Boko Haram in the northeast. The Air Chief's remarks came at a meeting with officers of the Nigerian Air Force to review the operations of the force. Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar also announced a new operation that had begun to further crack down on the insurgents. And as a way of bridging the gap, the gender digital gap in an unprecedented manner, 7,200 young women across 12 states in Nigeria will be trained under an initiative known as Nigerian Women Texters. Announcing this at a press conference in Akure, the program manager of the initiative, Peace Odili, said the program, partly funded by Microsoft, will train these women on coding skills weekly across the 12 states in the country. The executive director of the initiative, Jewel Ogunshola, said his group is a non-profit body focused on solving the world's greatest problems through technology. The chairperson of the advisory board of the Nigerian Women Texters Initiative and the wife of Ondo State's Governor Betty Ayawu Akeredolu expressed happiness and commitments to the program. And that's the news we're following for the hour. It's back now to Yomi and Titi for the continuation of the program.